لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
Dearest viewers, welcome to another edition of Misconceptions Removed. My name is Monica Said, your host. Misconceptions Removed is a program where we dispel all the misconceptions in the religion of Islam, most especially. Today we are to look at the misconceptions surrounding Adam. Adam is said to be the first man created on earth, and it is said that we are all descendants of him. Which is which? We are yet to discover. My guest today is Sheikh Faisal Wiyonje. He is the officer in charge, Annual Convention, Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, Uganda. He is to take us through this episode. You are most welcome on Misconception Removed.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Sheikh Faisal, we hear a number of stories from different kinds of people that all people in this world have got a connection, or they have got a link with Adam, who is said to be the first man to be created on earth. If one may ask, the Adam whom people refer to, that all of us have a literal connection with him, who was he?
That question is interesting. The answer to the question you have asked me, that who was Adam?
Yes.
The answer to this question is relative. Relative in a sense that it depends on who is answering that question.
Okay.
If the one answering that question is one of those who subscribe to the biblical narrative about Adam found in the book of Genesis, the answer you expect to get will be that the world began 6,000 years ago with God creating the first human being, Adam.
Okay.
Now, to entertain such an idea in this day and age is not only naive and irrational, but this is an idea that has been squarely proved wrong and dismissed by scientific research.
Okay.
How? Cosmological studies have shown that planet Earth alone is 4 billion years old. That put aside, archaeological excavations from different parts of the world have shown, basing on the remains of the earliest Homo sapiens. By Homo sapiens, I mean people or human beings who looked exactly like us and roamed and walked about planet Earth about 300,000 years ago.
Okay.
Now, to try to convince us that the world began with Adam 6,000 years ago, and Adam was the first human being created by God. Like I said, this idea does not hold water. It is naive and irrational, and it has been dismissed by scientific research.
That is one who subscribes to the biblical perspective.
Exactly. That is why I said that the answer to your question is relative.
Okay.
Furthermore, besides what I have explained to you from the scientific point of view and from briefly the biblical point of view, the idea or the notion that Adam was the first human being God created and placed in the earth is itself falsified by a passage found in the very book of Genesis, where we are told that Adam's son, Cain, after killing his brother Abel, migrated to the land of Nod, east of Eden. And there he took a wife for himself and fathered a son by the name of Enoch. Now the question here arises that if Adam was the first human being, then where did the wife of Cain come from? So these are the things that we base on to remove the misconceptions surrounding the reality of Adam. Adam, obviously, the one who lived 6,000 years ago, was never the first human being
but he
that
lived.
God created. So the Holy Quran is above such naive narratives, such irrational assumptions, and it talks of Adam in a very different way than all the other previous scriptures. For your information and for the benefit of our viewers, the Holy Quran contains declarations concerning Adam, concerning cosmology, concerning the origin of life, concerning the evolution of life itself, but no declaration of the Holy Quran concerning either of these topics of discussion can be proved wrong by any scientists. I will give you examples.
Okay.
The verses in the Holy Quran that talk of Adam can be categorized in two sections.
All right.
We have one set of verses of the Holy Quran that speak of Adam with relation to the first human being God created. That is a set of the verses of the Holy Quran that speak about Adam with relation to the first human being that God created.
Okay.
Then we have another set of Quranic verses that speak of Adam with relation to that first Adam who was the harbinger of civilization, that first Adam whose mental faculties reached a stage whereby that Adam could be able to receive communion and revelation from God.
Okay.
And therefore God appointed him as the harbinger of civilization for the future guidance of mankind. So you have to make that distinction that when the Holy Quran speaks of Adam, it speaks of Adam in two ways. First, as the first created human being, and secondly, as that last Adam in a chain of Adams.
A chain of Adams.
Chain of Adams that was the harbinger of modern day civilization.
Sheikh Sahib, we are talking of a set of verses Can you give us some of them for the benefit of our viewers?
Yeah, for the benefit of our viewers, for example, the Holy Quran talks of Adam and says, خَلَقَهُ مِن turab, that God created Adam from dust. It says, وَخَلَقَكُم مِن طِينٍ, we have created you from clay. It goes further to say, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ, that we made everything, we gave everything life with the aid of water. It also goes further to say, وَخَلَقَ الْجَانَ مِن مَارِجٍ مِن نَارٍ, that God created the jinn from the flames of fire.
Okay.
And in another place also, Allahu anbatakum min al-ardi nabatan, that God caused you to grow, a growth from some kind of vegetation. So you can see that the basic materials that are responsible for the origin of life, number 1, dust, number 2, clay, number 3, water, number 4, chlorophyll. These are all mentioned, including heat, that was very instrumental in the formation of the emergence of life in the beginning.
And when we speak that, we are not talking of Adam, who lived 6,000 years ago.
That is the demarcation I want you to put into consideration. We are not speaking of the Adam who lived 6,000 years ago in the land known as the land of Mesopotamia, the land between the two rivers. Okay. That Adam is one of the latest Adams in the chain of so many Adams that lived about 6,000 years ago. So that when the Holy Quran talks of that Adam, it talks about him separately. I'll give you an example. That because he was the harbinger and he was responsible for laying the foundation of human civilization for the coming generations. That is why when the Holy Quran talks about him, when God talks about that Adam of 6,000 years ago, he says, إِنَّكَ لَا تَجُوءَ فِيهَا, that it has been decreed that you will not hunger therein, meaning the earth.
Okay.
وَأَنَّكَ لَا تَجُوءَ فِيهَا وَلَا تَأْرَى, and you will not go about in the earth naked. وَأَنَّكَ لَا تَظْمَعُ فِيهَا, and you will not die of thirst when you are in the earth. وَلَا تَضْحَى, and you will not be exposed to the sun. Now you see, these are the 4 basic concomitants of civilization. Food, clothing, water, and shelter. These are the basic things that were taught to Adam by God, because he, as I told you, he was the harbinger of civilization for the guidance of mankind. But here, for the benefit of our viewers, I would like to make a clarification.
Please do.
That clarification is important in a way that the theory of evolution as presented by Charles Darwin, that we share the same ancestry with the apes, that is categorically refuted by the Holy Quran, and that is a notion that is not founded on any solid ground. Okay. Because the question would arise that if we are descendants, or we descended from the apes, why are apes not becoming human beings now, if in the past at all it is assumed that apes used to become human beings?
What went wrong?
Advocates of this theory of evolution are at a loss and have failed to give us an explanation as to why apes are no longer becoming human beings. A clear indication that shows that human beings evolved separately on their own, and apes also evolved separately on their own. This matter has been made very clear by one of the pronouncements of the promised Messiah, which is preserved in a voluminous collection of his pronouncements.
Okay.
It is very important and it is pertinent to the topic of our discussion that I will have to read it out for the benefit of the viewers.
Please do.
The promised Messiah is on record to have said that we do not subscribe to the view that the world began with Adam 6,000 or 7,000 years ago.
Okay.
And before this, there was nothing, and God was, as it were, idle and without work. On the contrary, he says, we believe that this Adam was not the first human being. Human beings existed even before Adam, as it is stated in the Holy Quran, where God says, Inni ja'ilu fil ardi khalifa, that I am about to place a khalifa in the earth. Meaning I'm about to place a successor in the earth. He goes on further to say that it is clear that human beings existed before Adam. Therefore, we cannot say whether the inhabitants of America or Australia are the progeny of this last Adam or some other Adam gone before him. Now, this pronouncement makes the matter very clear, and it removes the misconception that surrounds the reality of Adam as understood by other religious books other than the Holy Quran.
Please, for questions, thoughts, or observations, the email address is africa@mta.tv. Sheikh Faisal Wiyonje, as you give an extension on this discussion, please, we are still eager to understand more about the creation of Adam being the first man, being the harbinger to civilization. Expound more.
Perhaps the confusion of saying that Adam, who lived 6,000 years ago, was the first human being God created. Perhaps this arises from the long and extended period of time between the first Adam,
Okay.
as we understand him from the Holy Quran, because the subject matter there, the emphasis is on the creation of the first human being, and then also Adam as the harbinger of human civilization. That long and extended period of time, the Holy Quran has also referred to that long and extended period of time.
Okay.
In the Holy Quran, God says that Hal ata alal insan hinu min ad-dahr lam yakun shay'an madhkura. That hasn't a long and extended period of time come upon human beings, but for reasons best known to the Creator.
Okay.
God says that mentioning that long and extended period of time, or things relating to that, to the human beings who lived during that long and extended period of time, is not worth mentioning, because it is not going to benefit us. You understand?
Yes.
Because man has evolved from a lower to a higher stage,
Of life.
intellectually and physically. And as I told you earlier, when the mental faculties of human being reached a stage where he was able to receive communion and revelation from God, then Adam, being the perfect man of his generation, God appointed him as the harbinger of human civilization. It is for this reason that in Islamic theology, we consider Adam to have been the first messenger God raised for the guidance of mankind.
Okay.
I think that sheds ample light on which Adam are we talking about, and which Adam was the first human being created by God.
We are talking of human evolution, that man evolved from a low stage of life to a higher stage of life. Is that human evolution still ongoing or it ceased?
You see, scientists have classified stages of human evolution,
Okay.
and according to the scientific studies we have now, the latest, or call it the final stage of human civilization, ended with a human being they classified as Homo sapien. And I told you that that is why God's guidance started with that human being. And that was Adam, who lived 6,000 years ago.
Okay. And we are talking of that evolution physically.
Physically, both physically and intellectually.
Intellectually.
Yeah.
What of the spiritual, where we look at the spiritual side? Are we still evolving spiritually?
What do you mean by
From
evolving spiritually?
Because we see, for example, if I look at the ranks of prophets, Prophet Adam being the first messenger of God, you scholars teach us that after passage of time, of course, we had a set of prophets who came after. And the best in rank was Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is what we are told. And again, we are told that afterwards, still there could be a possibility of other prophets. That's why I'm asking that in the spiritual arena, is man still developing spiritually, or that door is closed?
You cannot say that door is closed. I think that is the reason why we spend a considerable amount of time on the earth. We are here to develop ourselves spiritually from a lower stage to a higher stage. So even the Holy Prophet ﷺ has hinted on something, although it may not be spiritually, but he says that utlubul ilm min al-mahdi ila lahad, that seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. So spiritual development, individually and collectively, is something that is ongoing, and it only ends when the span of human life comes to an end.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, the spiritual doors of progress for man are open when the human beings are alive.
Sheikh Faisal, actually we're almost coming to an end of this program. We are told that Adam, actually it is a long story. We are told that Adam had a wife called Eve. The story is, I don't know whether it is the biblical account or the Quranic account, that his wife was a product from his ribs. How is that?
Now, to understand these things, I think we have to know that these terminologies, the connotations of these words, are all used in a metaphorical manner.
Okay.
If we take them literally, then we cannot get the meanings behind these connotations and words. For example, in the Holy Quran, in the episode or the incident of Adam, whereby he was instructed not to approach a certain tree and not to eat from that tree, the tree that has been alluded to has only been used metaphorically, and that means a family tree. It may denote a tribe, a group of people, or a family. So the wife of Adam being created from the rib of Adam is not physical in any way, because that's not what science also tells us. But the Holy Prophet ﷺ has also talked about a woman being created from the rib of Adam, or Eve being created from the... It only shows the delicate nature of a woman as compared to the physical features of a man.
Good.
It does not in any way indicate that a woman has been created from the rib of Adam. Otherwise, the Holy Quran, in the 4th chapter of the Holy Quran, God says, خَلَقَكُم مِّن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ, that God created a woman and a man from a single soul. It doesn't say that a woman has been created from the rib of Adam. When the Holy Prophet gives us that similitude, that example, it only refers to the delicate nature of a woman as compared to the physical features of a man.
What would be your concluding remarks to the viewers?
My concluding remarks should be that the Holy Quran should be studied seriously to understand the misconceptions that arose from the negative picture that has been shared by the previous books, because they underwent a lot of interpolations and distortions and changes.
Okay.
But the Holy Quran has come to clear that picture and remove those misconceptions so that we can understand our future. By understanding our future, our past, we can be able to understand our present and future.
Sheikh Faisal Biyanje, thank you very much for that scholarly presentation. We hope to see you next time, inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Dearest viewers, the topic of Adam is very interesting, but please accept that in a 30-minute slot, we cannot exhaust everything to the fullest. But if time allows, an extension of this discussion will be made in another episode. For questions, thoughts, observations, the email address is africa@mta.tv. We thank you very much for your courtesy of listenership. See you next time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول